Hello guys, this is Raphael here. In this video, I'm going to show how to create a virtual switch and a virtual machine using Hyper-V. So in the last video, I showed us how to turn on Hyper-V in our Windows machine. So we are going to create a virtual machine. Right. So for us to start, we have to go to Hyper-V Manager. Once we turn it on, we are going to go to our virtual switch manager. We are going to go to create virtual switch. We are going to name our virtual switch Ralph. We are going to name it Ralph virtual switch. Right? And it is going to be a private network. We click apply and then OK. Once we do that, our virtual switch has been created. Here you can see our virtual switch has been created here, which is a private virtual switch. Right? To create a virtual machine, we go to new virtual machine. Before we begin, this wizard prompt will come up. We'll go on next. We can rename our virtual machine to whatever we want, but for the sake of this video, we're going to leave it as new virtual machine, or can name it as RAF VM. Right? We can choose the location we want to store our virtual machine. So I am going to choose desktop as a location to store our virtual machine. Here we'll go next. We choose the second generation next. So you can assign the memory for your virtual machine dependent on the capacity of your physical device. So for the purpose of this class, we are going to choose 4 gig, which is written as 4096, and then we are going to leave this ticked for a dynamic memory. So we go on next. Now we are going to connect to a network. We're going to connect it to the RAF virtual switch that we just created. So we'll go next. Here we are creating a hard disk for our virtual machine. We can then assign the capacity of our hard disk dependent on, again, our physical device, because these memories are being taken from our physical device. So you assign capacity to the virtual machine dependent on the capacity of your physical device. For the purpose of this demonstration, I'm going to assign 50 gig, 50 GB, right? And then we'll go on next. There are so many installation options for us. So for the purpose of this demonstration, I'm going to choose install our OS from a bootable CD or DVD ROM. So the OS we are going to install, we are going to use an image file. So the image file is our Windows server. We're going to install our Windows server as our OS. We now open it. Right, we go on next, and this is the summary of our virtual machine that we are trying to create. Just go on finish and wait for it to finish, and it is done. Here you can see RAF's VM is created. Our virtual machine has just been created, but it's not connected yet. So to connect this RAF's VM, we can either double click or we can go on connect. So if you click on connect, you can see this will pop up. Let me expand this. You can just click on start. Right, once you hit start, you simultaneously hit any key on your keyboard. So I'm just going to do that right now. So our Hyper-V is coming on, right? Um, so we are going to, let me expand this, right? So for the language, we're going to leave it as United States English language. You go on next and then install. We are trying to install our OS right now. So since we don't have a product key, and since this is a demonstration we are going to use, I don't have a product key. So you're going to select that. There are several options, but we're going to choose Windows Server 2019 data center desktop experience so that we can have a desktop experience in our server OS. So we go choose that and go next. We are going to accept this and go next. So between the upgrade and custom, we are going to choose the custom, and this is it. This is the 50 gig that we allocated for our virtual machine. We just go next, and then we are going to wait for the OS to install, right? So is we're going to give it some time and allow it to install. It's going to take some time, sometimes dependent on the capacity of your physical device. It can be fast or it can be slow, right? If your physical device is, if your RAM is SSD, it is much faster with SSD disk than HDD disk. So we are just going to allow it to install. So it's taking some time, like I said. Oh, we're almost done now. It's getting to 80%. Right. So once it's finished installing, it is going to restart. Right. So we are now on 90%. All right. That's done. So it's now finishing up the installation. Right. Like I said, once the installation is done, it's going to restart. So this VM is going to restart, and you can see the countdown there. And here you go. The VM is our Hyper-V is restarting. This might take some time, like I said, so you just have to allow it. So once that is done, you're going to choose a password that you can remember, because that is what you're going to use, and log into your VM as the administrator, right? So you can now connect. Once you connect, you type in the password that you just chose. Oh, sorry. Right. And that is it. Our server is up. You can click don't show this again, right? And for these services, we can turn it on. If you don't like to see red, just right click on all the services and start them. Once you start all of them, you can hit OK, and here is green. Yeah. Then we'll go to local server. Here we can change our computer name. You can call it RAF computer. There is no space. You can call it RAF computer and click OK. Once we do this, our VM is going to restart. So we go on and restart our VM, right? So you go on, put in your password again. So from our server manager, right, we go back to our local server, and we'll need to configure our Ethernet, right? So we'll click here. We need to assign an IP address for our server. So go on Ethernet, go on properties, right? We are going to disable IPv6 and just use the IPv4 version. So you double click here. We are going to assign a static IP address. So we are going to use this one. Use the following IP address, the one that we are going to assign. I'm going to use 196.168.21.135, right? Our subnet mask, I'm going to use 128, right? And since we want this server to also be our DNS server, we are going to use the same IP address so that our DNS points to this server, right? 135. Once we do that, we click OK, we close this, and just let's refresh this. Yeah, so we can see our IP address is all set, right? So this is where I'm going to stop this video for now. And in this video, like I said before, I have shown how to create a virtual network, how to create a virtual machine on Hyper-V. We installed our server, our OS, and then we changed the computer name and we assigned an IP address in our server. Right. Thank you very much. I'll see you next time.